Hello folks, welcome back to Pass the Page with me, MT Lynx. Today we're going to talk about power and corruption, why characters lose themselves. First of all, power doesn't just change people, it unmasks them. We love stories of heroes rising, but we're just as fascinated by the stories of the ones who fall. So why does power so often lead to corruption in fiction? And why can't we look away when the characters lose themselves? Today on the Past Page, we're going to pull apart the psychology of power, the allure of corruption, and how storytellers can use it to reveal truths about humanity themselves. First up, the psychology of power. Psychologists say power doesn't corrupt, it reveals. It strips away fear and inhibition, amplifying what was already there. A generous person with power may become even more generous. A selfish person, more ruthless. In stories, this is gold, because watching a character handle power shows us who they really are. Will they lead with compassion or domination? Will they protect others or will they protect themselves? So why are we fascinated by corruption and love corruption arcs? Because they hold a mirror to our fears. We wonder, if I had that much power, what would I become? Watching corruption unfold lets us experience danger and temptation without actually living it ourselves. Classic falls from grace. Literature is full of corruption arcs. Macbeth, consumed by ambition and murdering his way to the throne. Denethor, clinging to power and losing his sanity to despair. Walter White, from desperate father to ruthless substance lord. These stories remind us that corruption rarely happens in one leap. It's steps, little steps, each choice a little darker, each compromise a little deeper, until the character can't recognize themselves anymore. The allure of power. So why does power tempt characters so much? Because it promises three things: control, freedom, and validation. Control over fate, freedom from fear, and validation that they matter. Think of Gollum in The Lord of the Rings. The ring gives him a sense of control and identity, even as it's destroying him. And beware the power of the kitten who wants her dinner. Power lures characters with what they lack most, and then twists that into chains. Gizzy. How to write corruption arcs well. So, how do you write power and corruption without slipping into cliché? First of all, start small. Show temptation in little compromises at first, and make sure you give the reasons. Corruption should feel understandable, even relatable. Mirror the stakes. The higher the power, the greater the fall. And show the cost. Corruption must wound others and the self. And then leave a question. Is redemption possible, or has the character gone too far? When done right, corruption arcs don't just shock, they haunt. Because readers see the shadows of themselves in every choice. Emotional undercurrents. So power and corruption endure in stories because they echo our world. Leaders rise and fall. Ambition builds and destroys. We know how fragile integrity can be when tested by temptation. And that's why corruption arcs stick with us. They're not just about villains. They're warnings about humanity. They whisper, beware what you wish for. You may not survive getting it. So tell me, which corruption arc hits you the hardest? Was it Anakin, Macbeth, Walter White? Maybe someone else. Drop it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for Past the Page vlogs. Next time we're going to explore grief and why it needs to be experienced in stories and not just skipped past. And now you know. I'll see you in the next video.